What if Sonic the Hedgehog and Spider Man teamed up together because they existed within the same universe? Now, I know for a fact so many people have already asked themselves this question and probably gave their own answers to it. However, what if I told you my own not only came from me, but also came from my brother? But this answer that we made stems back from years ago, which soon bloomed into its own universe. That is right. When me and my brother were younger, we created our own universe based off the sole purpose of the Sonic franchise and the Marvel franchise existing within one universe because I was a Sonic fan and he was a Marvel fan. So we wanted our worlds to collide, and that's exactly what we did. So, this universe here, you would think, oh, childhood memory, it's great. Well, let me tell you something. We still make stories about this universe to this day. Yes, to this day. We've had this universe for more than like 6 years, maybe even more than like 8 years at this point. We still make stories about this. And we called it the Prime Universe. And that is what we're still calling it. You see, this universe is very close to us, and naturally, with the universe this long and us maturing, meaning we could write better and better stories, well, there's also a lot of lore to it. No, seriously, there could be a single character that we've made or that we adapted, and they would have like 10 pages worth of lore to them. And we've agreed that I will be here to discuss the lore of the Prime Universe and all of its stories. Now, you see, this universe is split into 3 eras, and this video will be focused on the first one. The first one is the Unscripted era, which is the start of the universe where we had stories where they're unscripted. So really, you're going to get a bunch of plot synopsises and drawings to back them up. And so I'm condensing it all into one video. Think of it as like the planting seeds of what's to come. The second era is the Golden Age, or Golden Era, whatever, where a lot of big important stories happen that stem from, I want to say stems from 2022 all the way to 2025, late 2025. And then the last era, the modern era, which is the one we're in currently, hence the name, 2025 to the present. And it's going to stay at that for a while. So, buckle in and allow me to tell you the nostalgic universe that me and my brother made up that we still use today, based off of Sonic the Hedgehog and Spider-Man. So let's go ahead and start with the obvious. The Big Bang. The creation of the universe. But, of course, the main things to note is that the planets Earth and Mobius exist, all within a single galaxy. And now, of course, this is when some recorded timeline stuff begins to happen. So in 1991, Sonic the Hedgehog, who was named Maurice Ogilvy, because of course that's his name, yeah, just whatever, his origins are different. It's more like the Fleetway comics, where he was originally a brown hedgehog who got his powers via experiment, except the experiment this time was interacting with a blue Chaos Emerald. I was young when I made this, so there's no further lore details on that, just know those are his origins. And Eggman went from Earth to Mobius in the same year. Meanwhile, on Earth in 2002, Spider-Man got his powers and his origin story is basically the same, but mostly based off of the 2002 Spider-Man movie. Also, don't flame my brother for this, y'all, but he renamed Peter Parker to John Parker. I don't know why. He said he just thought it sounded cooler. Don't flame him for it, bro. Please. He's really self-conscious about it. Trust. I should also note that this universe is majorly based off of the Archie Sonic universe and Sonic X, because I grew up with Sonic X and I'm a fanboy of it. I grew up with it. What can I say? Anyway, you remember that Molly girl from season 3 of that show, the Metarex arc, or Metarex Saga, whatever you want to call it? Well, she survives this time, because I watched the 4Kids version. Of course I did. She goes back to Mobius with Shadow, and, well, they start to engage in a romantic relationship. So does Knuckles and Rouge. Yeah, this is kind of when it starts to get a little weird, so bear with me. Now, for another thing in Mobius, Blaze and the Soul Kingdom actually exist within the same dimension as the Prime Dimension, or the Chaos Dimension, whatever you want to call it. So, Blaze already exists alongside the Freedom Fighters, along with the 7 Soul Emeralds, which are far weaker than the Chaos Emeralds here. And now for 2007, arguably the biggest event in this universe, the birth of Eartheus. So, for some reason, I don't know, on some random Tuesday, Spider-Man creates a machine to travel to different worlds for exploration, but ends up on Mobius. The unstable machine forces Earth and Mobius to collide, creating Eartheus, a conversion of planets. How are people still alive? Don't ask me, bro. But it's around this time that Spider-Man does meet Sonic, and of course they become pretty good friends. However, in 2008, many people perished, obviously, during the worlds converging. Human and Mobians discriminated against each other and fought, forcing the heroes and governments of both worlds to keep the peace. Spider-Man in particular dedicated his future years of his career to help keep the peace in the world due to his overwhelming guilt, as he should. On a happier-ish note, around 2009, Sonic and his friends are growing older and they're starting families. Sonic and Sally by this point are already married and they have a son. Knuckles and Rouge married. They're starting their own family as well. Same thing for Shadow and Molly. Same thing for Silver and Blaze. Although on a more time warpy kind of note, in 2011, Eggman manages to wield the time meter and uses it to mess with Sonic's friends and families while changing time itself. However, Sonic is passed out to defeat Eggman, yada yada yada. Basically, the story Sonic Generations. However, so when time is restored, their family's children have changed a lot when it came to age, because it was very convenient for me. Knuckles Rouge's first daughter, Jane, became an adult. Their younger son, Nucky, and younger daughter, Rosie, were unchanged. Shadow and Molly's first son, Shane, and younger daughter, Sarah, became adults. Their younger son, Shad, was unchanged. Silver and Blaze's daughter, Sierra, and younger brother, Blarton, aka Blar Blar, become young adults. However, Sonic and Sally's 2-year-old son, Classic Sonic, was unchanged. Yes, his name was Classic Sonic because we literally thought during Generations Classic Sonic was Sonic's son. Please, be easy on me, man. Also around this time, Amy's grown enough to know that she still wants the best for Sonic, but seeing that he has a whole family, she moves on, focusing on herself, and specifically her physical prowess, because after a few years later, she became a professional and popular boxer. Good for her. In 2014, the Boom variants of Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, Shadow, Eggman, and their own sticks came from their own world to the Prime Universe. Their mysterious and anomaly-esque appearance caused a paranormal reaction to an island with inhabitants, making them all silly and strange, similar to the actual TV show. This strange event made Boomtown. In 2016, Blar Blar becomes more independent from his parents, Silver and Blaze, and joins the Air Force. And then also in 2016, God, this is just silly. So Shadow and Knuckles discover weird clones of Knuckles. They were the newly made Ugandan Knuckles species. Yeah, just don't question it. Please don't question. Not even I know, okay? Either way, Knuckles was deemed king by them, but declines due to his guardianship of the Master Emerald, so Shadow takes his role, deciding to be good for his family and gun. So this started a little nation known as Wakanda that Shadow ruled, which would soon be passed on to his son, Shane, in due time. This becomes very important. And sadly, in 2017, where things began going downhill, we experience Antoine's death. While fighting Metal Sonic, he self-destructs, putting Antoine in a coma. However, later on during the blip, which I'll talk about in a second, his doctors were gone and he couldn't be saved, resulting in his death. This was made even worse considering that the events of Sonic Forces happened throughout this year for 6 months. Although it is important to note that the Avatar in this case is literally named Avatar the Wolf, and they all defeated Infinite, trapping him within the Ruby, which went missing. Shortly after this, Avatar joined G1. However, in 2018, the Avengers fight and lose to Thanos. And this costed the universe to lose half its population until a year later, where the Avengers bring everybody back to fight Thanos from a different timeline. This resulted in the Battle of Eartheus. Quite literally every single superhero on Eartheus, both on the Earth and Mobius side, were included in this big battle. Also to miraculously note that Sonic and his friends as kids were not affected at all. Lucky them. A couple important things happened in 2019. Sonic's son, Classic Sonic, begins training with his dad. Amy and Mighty have known each other for long enough to start their own relationship. Metal Sonic transforms into Master Metal Overlord looking for Eggman after the whole Eggman Empire takeover, but Eggman's lost his memory. So, the Freedom Fighters, along with new members Tangle and Whisper, gang up and defeat him. Although a platypus named Dr. Starlin has recovered Eggman, and Metal Sonic's return in his normal form brings back Eggman's memories, causing them all to start plotting their next scheme in the shadows. And, unfortunately, it was also around this time that Mephiles returned due to timeline shenanigans, and this results in Sally sacrificing herself to save her son, resulting in her death last minute. Meanwhile, Blaze used the Solar Emeralds to stop Mephiles and sacrifices herself as well in the process. Of course, around this time, John, Spider-Man, has been mentoring Miles Morales, who recently got bitten by the spider. However, Mysterio reveals his identity to the world, so John literally just leaves the dimension entirely, leaving Miles Morales to become the new Spider-Man, who was mentored by an alternate universe Peter Parker. As for 2020, Shane the Hedgehog, Shadow's son, becomes the new king of Secanda. Meanwhile, G1 commander Abraham Tower passed away, and a Mobian named Sander Walters took his place, but hated humans and wanted them extinct. So G1 became a more evil and corrupt government. Team Dark, Avatar, and two particular agents named Phil and Nicole, more on them later, decided to leave. Rotor the Walrus knew the secrets of G1 and so did Rouge, so they team up to take it down but fail, resulting in Rotor's death. Rouge almost immediately gets her house bombed, but luckily she gets her kids out despite her losing her own life. But by this point, Eggman and Starline has released the metal virus, which affected mostly Mobius and most of its heroes. This made Shane assemble his own team, consisting of Avatar, Blarblar, Mighty, Ray, Charmy, who left the Chaotix recently to grow on his own, Austin, who was a small-time crook who stole Knuckles, Shadow, Silver's quills to obtain their powers while in a weaker state, don't ask, and Shane himself as the leader. The team cured the world of the metal virus. Eggman got locked up in a secure prison and stayed as the new main team of Mobius, considering that the Freedom Fighters at this point was dwindling. Their team remained in Secanda, with Sarah assisting as tech support. They became the Resistance. This is also very important. In 2021, the president of Mobius, named Sam, who was related to Boom Sonic somehow, he had a rival who worked with Boom Shadow so he could take over. He threatened Boom Sonic's kids, who he had with Boom Amy, because of course he did, but luckily Boom Shadow was stopped and finally put down for good. Dead. The rival was locked up, and Sam continued his time as president. Now, while I was growing up, there was a neat little YouTube series I was really into called Sonic Stop Motion Adventures. Peak series, by the way, you should go watch it. But I did make sure that its finale was canon to this universe. So, Bedlam came, tried to end Sonic's friends for overusing the Chaos Emeralds because he was the moderator of them. Sonic defeats him, becomes a new moderator of the Chaos Emeralds, but instead of actually staying home protecting the Chaos Emeralds, he actually does go to that other dimension to guard the Chaos Emeralds, meaning he had to leave his life behind. Since his father was gone, Classic Sonic and Tails' younger brother Pablo, who met during childhood since Sonic and Tails wanted them to have the friendship that they had, they went on adventures. The kids made friends and rivals. Classic Sonic and Knuckles' son, Nucky, yes that's his name, became friendly rivals, although Classic Sonic made a bit more serious rivalry with Shadow's youngest son, Shad. All the while, Tails finally reunites with a mongoose named Mina, a character from the Archie comics, an old friend of his, and they begin dating sometime later. Also, Austin, that guy who was in the Resistance a while back, teams up with a professional cop named Matt, and they take down Austin's deadly rival named Roy. They end him, but Matt loses his ears, becoming deaf. Although he did join the Resistance shortly after, which supplied him with new metal ears and a jetpack and a shield made by Sarah. While on the goofier side, Tangle decides to assemble her own team due to a silly little jealousy of the Resistance. Her team consists of Amy, Mina, Whisper, Shade, and Julie Sue. They stopped the threat against the Wisps, but their energy eventually hit a village and changed all of its people, giving them powers. And, okay, this is kind of funny, we actually meet my character, because he also exists within this universe as well. And he was among that village that were affected by the Wisp's Go-On energy. Hyper Go-On energy, whatever Sonic Colors calls it. But it instead unlocked superpowers that he already had instead of giving him Wisp powers. He and his best friend Phil eventually go on their own adventures. This same Phil, by the way, was one of the agents in GUN. However, Omni had an inner demon, a monster named Soul Demon, which was eventually let out, and it caused mass destruction and caused various casualties, unfortunately, including Cream the Rabbit. Many were injured, including Sarah, who was paralyzed. The only way to beat the demon was by destroying the Soul Emeralds, which Omni did utilizing his own burning form. Soul Demon caused a lot of death, and all the blame went straight to Omni himself, but at least the demon was put to rest. By this point, Starling has been tossed aside by Eggman, and wants to teach him that he's his equal, and that they can rule the world together. So he began targeting the Resistance and created a Death Egg Sentinel and a Motobug among the other badniks. The Resistance recognized they kinda have a personality, so they hacked into them and gave him free will. The Death Egg Sentinel named himself Destructive Robot, aka Dez, which I did get from the channel Migi Mikey from their Sonic Forces videos, very funny, very nostalgic, ha ha. And the Motobug named himself Chadwick, aka Chad, and they joined the Resistance shortly after. It was also Omni and Phil who assisted in this mission, who coincidentally meet Shadow and Knuckles, who were also helping the Resistance at the time. So, the two were promoted to join the Resistance, since Shadow and Phil worked together as GON agents. During the big win against Dr. Starline, a couple people met. Avatar and Tangle began dating, and Whisper and Matt, they had a one night stand during a celebration night. I know it's kind of weird. My brother came up with it. Don't flame him. A guy. But anyway, Whisper regretted it immediately, and Matt continuously tried to win her back. By this point, G1 has been a very big problem, so the Resistance and Shadow team up to take down G1 and sent Walters to prison. They publicly get recognized for being the largest team of the world at the moment, so cool. It's also confirmed that Shane got Black Arm's DNA and tentacles inherited by Shadow's Black Arm's physiology. It was also this time that John Parker, Spider-Man, has returned from traveling the multiverse. However, he wanted Doctor Strange to wipe everyone's memory of his identity, but it failed and resulted in everyone forgetting who he was, except for Sonic, who is currently the moderator of the Chaos Emeralds and thus not in this dimension. We then learn the origin story of Mina Mongoose's best friend named Robotic. He was a robot. Robotic was created by mysterious creatures alongside other robots like him, but a scuffle occurred rendering him shut down for years until Mina found and fixed him. They became besties for a while, so that was cool. But Robotic soon befriended Tails and Pablo. Soon, his other similar robot friends came with various intentions. This is also very Murder Jones coded, since I was into that at the time, so bear with me. One was named Uzi, who was a friend. Another was named Vane, who was an enemy, turned into an ally. And another was named N. Uzi and Robotic had a romantic relationship until she perished during their battle with N, where he perished as well. I'm sorry, I just can't, bros. Oh my god, this universe is silly. Anyway, we are then introduced to Trident. She was an antagonist towards Shadow and all of Wakanda. She was the queen of Atlantis and nearly flooded Wakanda, but was stopped, and Shane managed to make peace with her in her kingdom, so she quickly became an ally. Now in 2022, the last 100 Shadow androids awaken and make their way to Wakanda, but the second one, dubbed Shadow 2, malfunctioned and gained a conscious. He seeks the help of Shadow and the Resistance to stop his android brothers and give them their own personalities as well, freeing them from their drone-like state. It was also around this time that Sarah took a sample of Shane's DNA and injected it to herself because she believed it to be unfair that he got Black Arm's DNA and she didn't. Very mature. Anyway, so she also wanted to walk again, so that was also pretty important. But instead, she turned into a Black Arms monster that was hungry constantly. So the Resistance had to take care of her until she gave birth to 10 baby Black Arms aliens. Yeah. Anyway, she was soon cured and took pride in her normal form, along with her babies becoming their mother. We then catch up with the Jackal Squad. Well, their remaining members anyway. It was now led by Cassette, Infinite's girlfriend. She found the Phantom Ruby and used it to get revenge on Avatar, since he beat Infinite. However, they were terrible when using it, so they made Phantom copies of the Resistance. They were all defeated except for Austin and Shane's clones. Shane's clone reversed in evolution, turning into a tiny Black Arms alien, but was more like a pet that Shane kept. Austin's clone was a chill, pretty chill honestly, and named Roy, which stung Austin due to his past rivalry with his dead enemy named Roy, but the two became friends, and Roy soon embarked on a journey to become a rapper. Cool. It was around this time that Starlin teamed up with Zavok, Mimic, Rough and Tumble to acquire the tricorn in his glove and acquiring his own base that was once Eggman's, a combination of the speed, flight, and power core. He soon betrays and discards his team, but also realizes he isn't Eggman's equal, he's his better, and he'll prove it when he conquers the world. He then plans his next big project, where he makes enemies that should combat Sonic and Tails. It was also around this time that Belle, a wooden badnik made from Eggman when he lost his memory, was discovered. She was heartbroken when she found out he was evil again, but Tangle, Classic Sonic, and Tails managed to befriend her. It was around this time Classic Sonic has became more competent in his abilities and even became a little cocky menace. He's been fighting Starlin a lot, and since he was focused on the Resistance, he created Silver Sonic to keep Classic Sonic busy. But honestly, all Silver Sonic ever really wanted was to impress his creator. He saw him as his father. His dada, as he would put it. But Starlin barely paid any attention to him. But miraculously, Sonic returned from the moderator realm, along with Bedlam. Because for some reason, the Chaos Emeralds were acting out. Acting strange. And it was up to these two to find out what was happening. And of course, around this time, Eggman himself escaped as well. And he secretly kidnapped Classic Sonic and Shad. For why? Well, You'll just have to find out in the first story that actually has a script, which just so happens to be Sonic's last. I know you're probably confused by this, but this does mark the end of the unscripted era and the main part of the video. Thank you for sticking around for this long. And I guess for quick editor notes and whatnot. I know this is really weird. There's a lot of plot things that seem very strange, but a lot of it is admittedly important. I'll tell you this right now. The whole classic Sonic stuff, Silver Sonic, Starline, the Resistance especially, very important stuff. You're gonna want to remember all of that. And of course, if you're ever confused, just keep going back in the video, keep, seeing what you want to know. And I'm really making this like a big thing because I really do want to tell the stories that me and my brother made. I want the universe that we made to be out to the public. I want everyone to know about it. Because, you see, I feel like... I'm yapping now, by the way. I do think that a lot of people probably have great imagination. No, they do. They have a lot of great imagination. Everyone does. Maybe someone out there made their own little universe where Spider-Man met somebody, like another fictional character they really loved, or Sonic met somebody else, like a fictional character they love. Or maybe somebody's just like me and my brother, where they imagined Sonic and Spider-Man teaming up. And I know, admittedly, a lot of the lore is not even about Marvel at all. And I will admittedly tell you, yeah, I don't really do any stuff with Marvel. I mostly just focused on the Sonic side, and it does stay consistent like that, even like to now when I'm writing. Although there are some Marvel stuff that does happen every now and then, so that's that's that. But the world of Eartheus is very expansive, at least with all this creative liberties that me and my brother have over it, considering that we can literally do whatever we want. I know a lot of our creative liberties back then were kind of strange, not really great, but it's kind of hilarious to me in a way. I don't know, it was really nostalgic putting this video together. All the artwork you have seen are visual representations of what I was saying. And it was really cool drawing out all of these events that never had a visual at all, because the way me and my brother would tell stories, the way we still do it now, we would write a script or just yap, acting as a script, and just let our minds do the rest of the doing. Let our minds do the rest of the writing, I mean. And I guess it kind of worked when it was just between us, but if I want everyone else to know about this universe that me and my brother made, I have to make some kind of compromise. And this is kind of the method I want to keep going with. Of course, when I'll start reading the scripts to you guys, I'll have to incorporate a couple more things like sound effects, more like I don't know. But anyway, I'm gonna have to act. There's that. I'm gonna have to really act. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this pretty long video of me yapping about me and my brother's very nostalgic universe. And I hope that this video does relatively well. To be honest, if it doesn't, I'm probably still gonna post some stuff about this. Who knows? Maybe someday someone's gonna watch all of these and be like, wow. And I'm not saying that these scripts we wrote were like masterpieces. I'd say far from it, to be honest. In fact, a lot of the stories that we did write were simply adapted for something else. I can't take full creative liberty of all the things we have written, all the things we're currently still writing now. We adapted a lot of things. We adapted a lot of things from stories we like. I mean, heck, sometimes we'll adapt entire shows and just replace characters with our own. So, I'll admit, while this universe may seem very creative, there are some parts, some corners of it where it's like, okay, that's kind of lazy, and we understand, but at the end of the day, we just love doing stuff with this universe, keeping it alive. We have been for years, and I guess I just really wanted to just talk about it. Because I talk about it with my brother, obviously, all the time. Sometimes with my friends, but I know they don't really get it, And I kind of feel like my brother's friends don't really get it either. And who knows, maybe you guys won't get it either, but maybe someone will. Maybe you guys will understand. If you do, then that's awesome. That's cool. But I should probably stop yapping now. Anyways, the next big thing, aka the first scripted story that I'll probably be telling in, I don't know when I'm going to be posting this video, sometime in April, I don't know, a couple weeks, maybe like a month or two. That story is going to be called Final Run, which will be, well, even though may not for you guys, but in universe, it's going to be an end of an era type story, which is going to be really important for a lot of characters, or a core cast of characters, a classic cast, if you will. Wink, wink. Anyway, excuse me. Damn. Excuse me. I drunk water. Don't worry about it. This is having some yapping without a script. Okay. Thank you a lot for sticking around for like 25 minutes. It's crazy. But thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed. And I hope to see you guys on the next Prime Universe story. Whenever I post that, which I'm hoping that's sooner than later. Either way, much love to you guys. Stay blessed out there. Bye!